Hi everyone, I'm Ollie and this is Criminolly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, horror, specifically Queen of the Cicadas by V Castro. Now, I'm very conscious that many, not all, but many of the books that I've reviewed and talked about on this channel have been by straight white men, and that's something I want to try and improve upon. So, today's book, Queen of the Cicadas by V Castro. So V is a Latinx woman who is of Mexican American heritage, but who lives in the UK now, lives in London, I believe. And this is, I'm trying to think how many novels she's written. I think this is her third or fourth novel. She's also got a short story collection which is coming out early next year, which I've got on my TBR too. And she's really good. So I've read a couple of her I read one of her early novels, Maria the Wanted, and an early novella by her as well, and both of which I enjoyed. I have to say, it feels like her writing has come on a lot, in that this was beyond enjoyable. This was really very good. So Queen of the Cicadas is about a Mexican American woman, Belinda, who goes back to Texas, where she's from, to attend a wedding of a friend of hers. And it turns out that the wedding is being held on a ranch, which has ties to a kind of piece of folklore or urban legend kind of thing that Belinda was told about when she was a child, which relates to the Queen of the Cicadas. So what follows after that is a kind of wonderful mix of different things. So a lot of the book feels like it's about the experience of being a Latinx woman, and particularly a kind of middle-aged Latinx woman. So there's a lot in there about Belinda's past, about how she's ended up where she is. So she's a successful solicitor, I think she is. But there's a lot about how she's got to that point and how she feels about her heritage in relation to her profession and her status in society. So that was fascinating. There's also a kind of urban legend part to it. So there's this character, the Queen of the Cicadas, is someone who supposedly, if you stand in front of a mirror, Bloody Mary style, and say her name 3 times, she will appear. So there's kind of that element to it as well. And there's quite interesting stuff around that with a group of kind of youngsters who turn up at the ranch who want to film for a YouTube channel about the paranormal. So there's that. And then there's also the whole backstory to the origin of the Queen of the Cicadas, which is about the experience of Latinx people in the southern states of America in the kind of 30s, 40s, 50s, that kind of period. And that probably takes up the majority of the book. So you've got 3 different timelines going all at once. So you've got Belinda's present and what happens there, and a lot happens there. You've got Belinda's kind of childhood when she first heard about this story, so you learn a lot about her roots. And then you've got the backstory of the woman who became the Queen of the Cicadas, who was kind of brutally murdered on this ranch in the past. And all those things mesh together really beautifully to give a real sense of the Latinx experience. And particularly of what it is like to be a Latinx woman, or at least I assume what it's like to be a Latinx woman, not being one obviously. But it blends together really well, and the book, I think partly because of that hopping around between timelines, has quite a dreamlike sense to it. So there's almost kind of a magical realism sense to it, as opposed to a horror, as opposed to a feeling of horror. So there are definitely gory and horrible scenes in the book, and it's quite scary at times. But there's also this sense that a kind of folklore sense that the Queen of the Cicadas is a positive thing, and there's a lot of stuff, particularly later in the book, where that becomes apparent. So it all hangs together fantastically well. And at first, as it was going off on all these different branches, I wasn't too sure if it was going to work. But actually, I have to say, V Castro pulls it together beautifully. at the end, and you get this, you really feel immersed in the book. I read it in I think a little over a day. I just couldn't put it down. It's really gripping, really nicely written, and a lovely blend, as I say, of different elements that comes together fantastically well. So I'm very much looking forward to reading the short story collection that I've got, and I'll be reviewing that once I have done. I think it comes out in January, so I might leave the review until nearer the release date. This book is available now from Flame Tree Publishing, or Flame Tree Press rather, who I have to say I think do a fantastic job of representing authors, of all different sort of kind of backgrounds and heritages. So yeah, definitely recommended from me. Do pick it up and give it a try, and if you've read it already, please let me know what you think in the comments. So as always, thanks for watching. I do appreciate your time. Hope you found the review interesting and informative, and look forward to speaking to you again soon. Cheerio.